What role do you play in the InfoChip platform? Our goal is to help you manage your assets for your clients as well as internally with the lowest cost of ownership. Within the workflow of the InfoChip software, you'll find your place. We're going to show you how to do your job most efficiently wherever you fit. If you're in sales, you definitely have to get your customer information so that you can give that onto your admin to be able to start the process of getting them entered into the database. Obviously, you're going to need the sample information below. You're going to need logins that are needed for the mobile apps, for online and for desktop. You're going to need reorder emails approvals. You're going to need schedule report email approvals. In the front office, obviously, we've got to do data entry. In doing data entry, we're going to have, again, contact information and login information. We're going to show you how to add a customer as well as a contact. We will start here in the login screen. Once we're logged in, we'll go through our menus up top to admin and maintenance. We'll click into customers. We'll click on to add a customer. We will put in a customer that we would like to add. Add an address. We'll choose our country, our state, and the city, and the zip code. Once that's complete, we'll put in a client number. We will put in a contact name. And a phone number. We will then enter in the email address for Dan. We will take that email address, we will copy that. We will put it here as a report username, makes it easy to remember, as well as the email address that we'll be able to access with the password. We will add this. We've now added the contact as well as the customer. Now we'll put an internal contact that would be for your company. In that case, it's going to be myself. We'll pick in that information. It'll put in description. We'll change that though, this to inside sales, and then we will hit add. And now we have added a new customer contact, as well as assigned an inside sales rep for your company to receive reorders. This is an example of what your customer will see for login credentials. We're going to talk about scheduled report emails, and we're going to show you how to create that specific report. We're going to begin by logging in, and one of the most important things about the scheduled email report is we believe that this is a prime example of automating a task in your office by using InfoChip to notify your internal technicians, your salesmen, and probably more importantly your customers of when assets are coming up for inspections. We believe that your customers will appreciate this proactive approach to service. So we're going to scroll across the top here. We're going to click into scheduling. Once we've gotten into this menu, on the right hand side we are going to choose the type of schedule that we're trying to create. So that is right here. It says view and modify schedules. Once we've clicked into that, we will also then click into that we want to create a new schedule. So we will go create new scheduled email. And then we default to this page. You'll have a schedule name. We typically tell people to default to their client name, and then possibly if there are multiple locations, the specific location. So we'll do that. We'll just go AZ Construction. And then we're going to do Exxon. We're going to choose the schedule type, so you can do whatever here, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, but we'll choose the daily, weekly, but set it up to go out once a week on Monday. Next, we'll choose the parameters of the report. Again, we've already said it's going to be AZ Construction. And then since AZ Construction does have multiple locations, we will choose the Baytown Exxon expansion, which is what we put up top in the schedule name. And then next, down here, we have the ability to choose, do we want anything other than just overdue assets to show up? It defaults to that. We could choose to include, by clicking this button, anything that's just not even due yet and is in good shape, or we could click this button, which will include assets that are 30 days away from being a critical asset or past due. Next, you'll notice that we default to for this report to pull both cert and inspections. You can choose certs only or inspections only, but again, we've chosen the default, which is the cert and inspections both to be pulled. Under recipients, this is like your kind of your date book. So you have the ability to choose contacts, and here we're going to choose Bob at AZ Construction. We're going to choose Jim, and then at the Exxon plant we're going to choose Harry, since he's the supervisor specifically at the Exxon location. We're going to hit Add Recipient. So now we've chosen 3 people for this report. We're going to hit Save. And now we've created a scheduled email report. We know that we've asked for that report to be sent out every Monday. And it's going to go to Bob, who is the supervisor for all of AZ Construction, and then Harry, who is the manager at the Exxon expansion location, as well as to the internal salesperson, Jim Stradinger, so that everybody once a week knows exactly what current state is. We believe, again, this is probably very much a proactive approach for your clients to know what it is, where it is it safe to use on a weekly basis. One of the keys to success is to be able to minimize the data input time that is required. Using custom attributes and pre-fills is actually very important. We're going to show you how to add an asset in less than a minute. We'll start by going up to the Asset menu. We'll click into New Asset. Once we get into the New Asset screen, we will first choose a serial number. Whatever way that you traditionally do it, we're just picking something random for this second. We will then choose where we're going to create and the category structure. We'll click into, in this case, Utilities. We will go into Major Power Tools. We'll click into Electric Power Tools and then an electric drill. From there, we're going to choose a prefill. We're going to choose this Ryobi prefill for an electric drill. Next, you'll see the description is populated. We'll assign it to a client that we're going to be selling it to and then maybe managing it for as well. We'll check the specific location. In this case, we'll choose a Chevron plant. We'll choose an expiry date. We'll just say this thing is going to be good for 10 years. And then we will hit Save. Next, we'll look up this asset that we just created, and we'll see what value we've created for our inspector as well as for the end user. This is your asset overview screen. As we scroll down, you'll notice because we chose a specific part number, it actually populated these asset attributes. You'll notice the next screen over is our CERT inspection status schedule, and we've defaulted a periodic inspection as well as a periodic CERT by putting in that specific part number. If we click over to operational forms, we'll see that we've defaulted 2 forms by picking again the actual part number and the default forms that are relative to that part number. Then we'll click on attachments. On attachments, you'll notice we already have an asset image that is populated as well as an asset diagram. But on top of that, we have a product manual, we have a maintenance guide, and we have a detailed product list. All of this was created by choosing a specific category and a part number. We have automatically populated everything else on this screen. If testing is important in your workflow process, we're going to show you today how to add and test assets with our Testbench module. This is our desktop screen. We're going to click into and add an asset that's already been put in to our system in the office. And what you'll notice, all of the attributes will pop up, and then we can hit perform operation to start the test bench process. We're now going to show you how to create a new asset. In this case, we're going to have to click the asset category. Once we've chosen the asset category, in this case, we're going to choose chain. You'll now have the chance to choose the custom attributes. By the type of chain, we'll add the custom length. We'll add a location. We'll add an attachment. In this case, it could be a picture. We'll say OK. And now we'll go to do the inspection. Now we're setting up just the defaults for the inspection criteria for the cert, as well as the inspections. We're putting in the target loads, the peak load, the time in which we'll hold the target load, and then we want to generate a cert that's going to pass. We launch Testbench, and what you'll see here is the proof test and then the zoom view going to the target load. Once we hit the target load, we'll hold it, and then we'll release the pressure, and then we have our chart that's generated. We'll then hit generate cert, and now we have our cert. We'll save and upload. Once your product has been manufactured, it's been tested, it's now going to show up at the customer site. What we want to show you now is what is available to you to be able to show off to the client based on all the hard work that's been done to this point. We're going to show you on the mobile app that you have the ability to give your client a use only and reports login, the value that you're putting into their pocket each and every day. What you'll see here is we need to log in. This is the mobile app, so we'll log in real quick. Once we've logged in, we have the ability to do a couple things. We can, if you use a barcode, the client could read the barcode to identify the asset. They could click into the search field here with maybe a visible number, or they could actually hit scan and with an RFID reader identify through the chip what the asset or serial number is and pull up the asset. In this case, we'll just click into the field with our hand. We will put in the number that we believe will pull up an asset. In this case, we will hit search. We will pull up the asset. Now we have a quick way to identify the asset. We can click into the image and say, we can zoom into the asset and we can make sure that that is the correct asset that we're looking at. We also have the ability under the details to look at maybe the serial number. If we pulled up by asset number, we can look at this as a chemical transfer hose. We can look up maybe, hey, we are AZ Construction. We are located at that specific location, the Chevron plant. We also have the ability to view real quickly by color code that both the next inspection date and cert date are green. We're in good shape. You'll notice at the bottom of the phone, you have the ability with menus. The next click is attributes, and you'll notice that this identifies the manufacturer. It identifies the model and additional details like diameter and so on and so forth. Next to that, you have the cert and inspection schedule. This is what would identify when and how they will be coming out next. So it tells you that this one is set up for 1 year on a periodic cert, and on the periodic inspection it's set for every 6 months. Next to the cert and inspection icon, we have completed work. Completed work is the ability for your client to look up an inspection. The latest inspection will always be on top. In this case, we have one inspection here. We can click into it. It tells you who it was completed by. At the bottom, you'll notice that you can click into the actual task. This is the last inspection. So I can scroll down and see that what passed or did not pass. I have the ability to look at if there's any additional data here. For example, the cover color code, it says the color code on the hose was wrong and needs to be replaced. And then I have the ability to go down and look at possibly who signed for the actual inspection. Good data for maybe the quality inspector at your client to have access to that data. Next, we have the ability to click into more, and in here we're going to see the attachments. We've noticed when we click into the attachments, we have the ability to possibly query in to look at different PSIs based on diameters, maybe confirm that we have the right hose for the application that we're working on. We have the ability to look at the image again that we have as the asset image currently on the asset. And we also have the ability to pull up an entire manual. This manual happens to be from ContiTech and gives the client the ability to see what else you might be able to provide them right there on their mobile phone. Once we're complete with that, we have the ability to click back out of the app, and the client now has good information to know what is it, where is it, and is it safe to use. Hello, this is Jim Stratinger with InfoChip. We're going to show you today the ability that your client has, if you so choose to give them a username and password, the ability to pull up an asset and reorder that asset from you back at your distributorship. So what you're looking at here would be the standard asset screen. What we're going to do is we're going to click into the asset screen. We're going to put in what we visually see as the actual number of the asset. So in this case, I'm going to put in a number that I see visibly on the asset. I pull the asset up. Now I can see that yes, this is a chemical transfer hose, and I could actually scroll down and kind of look at the hose. I'll notice that obviously the inspection date and the cert date are red, but that doesn't really matter because my forklift driver ran over. So I'm going to reorder this. They will click on to the airdrop button. They will hit reorder. They'll identify who the reorder needs to go to. So it could be an internal purchasing person as well as an internal person at your distributorship. In this case, I'm going to click on Jim Stratinger. I will then click on a quantity. I'm going to go ahead and order 2 because I don't have one right now and my forklift driver ran over the one that I had. And then I could put in notes. And again, I could speak those in, I could type those in. I could add that to the request. I will hit request. And now I have the ability to receive that at the distributorship, because I've provided it to my client to be able to reorder from me. Now I have the ability to scrap this asset because it is no good to me anymore. I'll click the airdrop button again and I will hit scrap. You'll notice I have the ability to be able to identify maybe this on an order number or a P number, but in this case the inspection instruction is to scrap this asset. All I have to do now is to hit save. That asset now is scrapped from my registry, so the distributor is aware of it, and I've now reordered it as well as scrapped the asset, all on my mobile device. This is an example of what the recipients for the scheduled email report will see, both in the email format as well as the actual report. Once your report has been sent out, the next thing we'll do is do an inspection. Inspections could be for assets that are already in the platform or that need to be added. We're going to show you how to do both. Today we're going to show you how to add an asset in the field on your mobile device. Sometimes this happens when you're maybe going out and doing a registry trying to earn somebody's business, or maybe it's just you run into a piece of rigging or an industrial hose or whatever the asset might be, and you need to add it into the system quickly and efficiently. That's what we're going to demo today. What we're first going to do is we're going to click on this button right here. We call that the airdrop button. We're going to hit create asset. We then have the ability to create an asset number. So in this case, we'll do that. We'll do SAP, and then we'll enter in a serial number. Same thing. Next, we're going to pick the category structure. This is where it picks up speed. We're going to click in a chemical transfer hose. We'll then click the type of prefill that we already know represents that style hose. In this case, it's an ARG blue flex wing. We'll assign it to a client. In this case, we're going to assign it. We're at AZ Construction. I'm going to pick the Chevron plant number 222. We'll click our in-service date, which is we're starting to manage it now. We'll go ahead and put in an expiry date. We know it's kind of old, so we'll put it out for about 4 years. Now we're going to scroll down to complete. We're just going to put a current status of this sling. So on the search status, we're going to say we don't have one. We'll hit none. And then on the inspection status, we're going to go ahead and say that we haven't done that, but we will be called out to do that at some point in time. So in the inspection status, we'll put none. And then we're going to hit save. And now we have saved and added that hose in the field. Now we want to look that hose back up in our mobile device. So we're going to put in the number that we just put in. We'll hit search. It pulls up that actual asset, and then we have the ability to scroll down. And what I want to show you is it's updated the inspection date for us, showing that everything is green. If we click under attributes, you notice we didn't fill any of this out. It automatically filled out because it was already a custom attribute based on the part number that we put into the system. You can also click next to that, the cert and inspection overview. You'll notice we put in none for cert, and we put none in for the status of the periodic cert because we haven't done either inspection. We have the ability now to assign a date if we so choose. We click into completed work. We haven't done any inspections on this asset. And then we can click on the attachments. And in the attachments, we'll hit get online data, simply because if we have access to online, we'll have the ability to download those attachments. We're not going to wait for that at this exact second. We're going to click back out. We have now added the asset into our system with all of the custom attributes, and we've done that quickly and efficiently in the field. Thank you. Hello, this is Jim Stradinger with InfoChip. Today, we're going to show you how on the mobile app you have the ability to do a digital inspection. Here is our mobile app. We'll click into the login field. We will put in our password. Once we log in, we will need to identify the asset. We have the ability, if your company is using barcode, we integrate with your camera and have the ability to click on the icon and read the barcode, and then the asset would populate. Or we have the ability to hit scan, and if we're leveraging RFID, read the RFID identifier. That would equal the asset or serial number, and that would pull up the asset that way. Lastly, we have the ability to type into the actual field. We'll do that now. Hit search, and then we'll pull up an actual asset that's relative to what we are going to inspect. In this case, we pulled up the chemical transfer hose. We could identify that the hose is correct by clicking into the picture. We could zoom in to make sure that we're looking at the right asset. Once we click back, we have the ability to also scroll down and confirm if the inspection, the customer, the location, and all that information is correct. Next, we'll click into, on an iOS device, onto the airdrop button. When we click into the airdrop button, we will hit fill form. Fill form defaults to two opportunities to choose. One, load test certification, or hose inspection periodic. We'll click on the hose inspection periodic, hit continue, and now we've pulled up the digital form. You'll notice that it's defaulted to myself, which is logged in, today's date. And as we scroll down, we'll notice that the information that we're supposed to capture for this inspection. I'll go ahead and scroll down to the visual inspection at the bottom of the device. Here, you'll notice lots of actions that will be visual actions that we have the ability to click into each and every one individually, or we can click on the airdrop button again, and we have the ability to hit pass all. Everything has now transferred to pass. If in fact we notice that we missed something, and for example maybe cover looseness, we can actually long hold onto that button and we can hit take a photo. It's integrated with the camera. We could go over to an industrial hose. We could show the picture of the cover looseness. We could hit use photo, and now that's integrated directly into our inspection. We also have the ability to click into the cover looseness again by long holding, and we can add a note. We can type in this note, or we can speak in this note. Cover loose, repaired hose. Now I've added that directly into our inspection. Once that is complete, or if in fact we actually have maybe a diagram that we want to look at, we can click on the airdrop button again and we can hit View Diagram. View Diagram might help us look at something as a PSI or maybe a visual image that shows something that we should be looking for. We have the ability to go back and forth between the inspection and the diagram. We then would hit Save, and now we would sync with the cloud, and the information that we just did, whether it's one inspection or multiple inspection, would be pushed up to the cloud. Move an asset on their mobile device. First, we'll log in. Once we're logged in, I will identify the asset. We have the ability to identify it with a barcode. If you as a manufacturer is putting a barcode on the device, we can read that. That's integrated with our camera. We have the ability just to click into the search field and actually manually put in a number, or we could hit scan, and if we're using RFID, read the RFID that's associated with an asset serial number, all of which will inadvertently pull up the actual asset. So in this case, we'll put in the asset number that we see is visual to us. We'll hit search. Once we pull up the asset, now we have the ability to change the asset location. We will click onto the airdrop button on the iOS. We will hit move the asset. We will click into the asset. It shows that it is located now currently at the Chevron plant, and that we're going to move it over to the Halliburton yard. We will hit save, and we have now moved that asset. Once we sync, this will then tell the cloud that that asset now has been moved from the Chevron plant to Halliburton. We also have the ability to click into the airdrop button, and we can scrap this asset. We have the ability to scrap that by hitting scrap and then hitting save. We have now scrapped that asset. Now when we type in that same asset number, it should not appear on our mobile screen. We'll click into it. We will put our number in again. We will hit search, and now the asset is no longer in the database. Thanks for your time. We're going to show you how easy it is to be able to run completed work forms for your clients once digital inspections are completed in the field. We'll first log in. Once we'll log in, we'll go across our menus up top to Work History. We'll click on to Completed Work. Once we're in Completed Work, we're going to show you a couple different options that you have the ability to do, all about reducing clicks. So in this case, we're going to first just click on to Search Filter. Once we click on Search Filter, we're looking to run a report today on a specific client. In this case, we'll click AZ Construction. We have the ability to get pretty granular as it relates to all their different locations, but today we're going to run all inspections we've done for AZ Construction. We could click by a specific inspector. We'll click myself. We have the ability to click on Date Query, and all of these different forms here have the ability to allow you to get very granular in your search. But we'll just search by AZ Construction and myself for inspections. Once we've done this, we can see that there's 163 inspections that have been performed. Now we'll click on to a specific type of report we run. We chose completed operation forms. We hit Generate Report, and now we have a report. We also have the ability here to save this report in a myriad of different formats, either XML, CSV, PDF, HTML, Excel, TIFF, or Word. I prefer PDF. Once we click on PDF, it will download that specific report, and now we have that report right here in front of us for our client in a PDF format that we can either text, email, whatever you prefer. Now we're going to go back and show you how we can even further reduce clicks. If in fact we had run this report before, and we're going to go ahead and clear the filters real quick, and we already had a filter already set up for this specific client, that would be right here. I would click into AZ Construction Complete Registry. Now when I click into that, you'll notice that we're going to get the same 163 results, but I did that now in just one click. Again, I would click my report that I want, the completed operations form, I would hit generate report, and the same process would start over again. This is how easy it is for you or your client to have the ability to have their register for either all of their locations or individual locations very quickly and efficiently with very little to none data entry. Thanks for your time. Reorder completes the life cycle of this specific asset. It also ensures that the right asset was ordered and all of the details are complete. And this is a copy of the email that would be received by any recipient for that specific asset.